They said this house had been silent for 40 years. No laughter, no screams, not even the sound of a door creaking, just silence. People in town called it the Still House. Some believed it was cursed. Others said it was just forgotten. But last night, something changed. I still remember the first time I saw it. I was 12. My dad had driven us past it on the way to school. The windows were shattered, vines crawling up the sides like veins on dying skin. My father said never to look at it for too long. He said the house doesn't like attention. I laughed back then, but now I understand. When the first inherited the property last month, I thought it was a mistake. My uncle, who I barely remembered, had left it to me. The lawyer handed me the papers and said, "You're the last living relative." I should have burned those papers right there. But curiosity, ... It always wins, doesn't it? So, last night, I drove there, alone. The road was narrow, swallowed by darkness. The headlights hit the rusted gate, still standing after 4 decades. The sign on it read, "Blackwood Residence, keep out." I pushed it open, and the screech it made. It didn't sound mechanical, it sounded alive. I parked the car. The air smelled like wet wood and something else, ... Something metallic. The kind of scent you smell in hospitals or old basements. My hands were shaking, but I told myself I'd just take a quick look and leave. Just ... closure. That's all I wanted. The key turned with a dry click. And when the door opened, I swear the air changed. The silence inside was heavier than the night itself. My footsteps echoed like they didn't belong to me. The house felt ... awake. The walls were stained, but not with mold. It looked like something had seeped out from the inside. Family portraits hung crooked, their eyes scratched out, and there, in the living room, was an old grandfather clock, still ticking. It took me a moment to realize what that meant. The house had been locked for 40 years, and yet the clock never stopped. I touched it, and it stopped, instantly. Then I heard it, a whisper, faint, from upstairs. A woman's voice, ... humming. At first, I froze. Every instinct screamed to leave, but that same curiosity, it pulled me up the stairs, one creaking step at a time. At the top, there were 3 doors. The middle one was half open. The humming grew louder. I could hear words now, but they were ... backwards. I pushed the door open. Inside was a nursery, toys scattered, dust covered. A rocking chair moved slowly on its own. The lullaby stopped. Then a child's voice whispered behind me, "Are you here to play?" I turned, flashlight trembling in my hand. No one was there, just the shadow of the rocking chair swaying. I backed away, but my foot hit something soft. I looked down. It was a doll, its porcelain face cracked, one eye missing. I picked it up, and my stomach dropped. There was a note pinned to its dress. It said, "Don't wake her." Before I could even breathe, the door slammed shut. The lights flickered. The walls began to creak like they were breathing. I could feel the floorboards move beneath my feet. And then I heard it again, that lullaby. But this time, it wasn't coming from a person. It was coming from the walls. I pressed my ear against the wall, and I swear I heard a heartbeat. I ran for the door, but it wouldn't open. My flashlight flickered out. The darkness swallowed everything. I screamed, hit the door, kicked it, nothing. Then, right behind me, I heard breathing, slow, wet, human breathing. I whispered, "Who's there?" And a voice, soft and calm, whispered back, "You shouldn't have touched the clock." The voice lingered in the air, soft yet sharp enough to slice through my sanity. "You shouldn't have touched the clock." I froze, not breathing, afraid even the smallest sound might summon whatever was behind me. Slowly, I turned the flashlight back on. The beam flickered, weak, shaking in my trembling hand. The room was empty, but the doll wasn't where I dropped it. It was now sitting upright on the rocking chair, facing me, its head tilted slightly to the side, as if curious. My throat dried up. Every part of me wanted to run, but my legs felt nailed to the floor. And then, the lullaby began again, slower this time, lower, like someone whispering into my ear from inside the walls. I took a step backward, and the floor creaked, but not under my weight. Something beneath the floorboards moved, crawled. I stumbled toward the door, pulled it again, and finally it opened, but not to the hallway. It opened to a staircase I had never seen before, spiraling down into darkness. My body screamed to get out, but my mind, it whispered, "You came this far." I pointed the flashlight down. The walls of the staircase were covered in handprints, small like those of children, but smeared, dragged downward into the abyss. Step by step, I descended. The air grew colder. My breath came out in white clouds. Then I heard it again, that same woman's voice, this time closer, whispering words I couldn't understand. But one sentence repeated over and over. "She's not asleep." At the bottom, the stairs ended in a basement. Old, rotting furniture, broken toys, and in the corner, a crib, still swaying gently, as if someone had just touched it. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. I moved closer. Inside the crib was a blanket, small and pink, covered in dust. I reached for it. The instant my fingers brushed the fabric, something ice-cold gripped my wrist. I yanked my hand back, and the blanket moved, lifting slightly, as though something beneath it was breathing. Then came a giggle, high-pitched, childlike. It echoed off the stone walls, bouncing in all directions. I backed up slowly, my light trembling. The blanket fell away, and the crib was empty, but I could still hear the breathing, louder now, behind me. I turned, and there she was, a little girl, no older than 6, standing in the shadows, pale skin, empty eyes, her hair wet and clinging to her face. She stared at me, unmoving. "Who are you?" I whispered. She tilted her head the same way the doll had. Then she smiled. "Mommy said you'd come back." My heart stopped. "Come back," I muttered. She nodded slowly. "You broke her clock." The air grew heavy. My flashlight flickered and died. Total darkness. Then footsteps above us. Heavy, dragging footsteps, moving across the ceiling. Dust fell like rain. The little girl turned toward the sound, whispered, "She's awake." And before I could speak, she vanished. The footsteps grew louder, closer, coming down the stairs. I backed into the corner, searching for anything to defend myself. The old grandfather clock's ticking returned, echoing faintly from somewhere upstairs. But this time, each tick sounded like a heartbeat, deep, slow, rhythmic. The steps reached the basement floor. A faint figure emerged from the shadows, a tall woman, wearing a tattered black dress, soaked as if she'd just come from the rain. Her hair hung over her face. She didn't walk, she glided. Every instinct in my body screamed to run, but my body wouldn't obey. She stopped a few feet away. Her head twitched once, twice. Then she looked up. Her eyes were gone, just hollow, dark sockets. But I could feel her staring at me. When she spoke, her voice came from everywhere at once. The walls, the floor, my head. "The clock keeps her alive. You stopped it. I tried to speak, but no words came out. She stepped closer, raising a skeletal hand toward my chest. "Now," she whispered, "you will take her place." Pain exploded through my body as my chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. The world spun. The last thing I saw before everything went black was her face, inches from mine, smiling. When I woke up, I was in the living room. The morning sun was bleeding through the cracked windows. The house was quiet again, too quiet. I stumbled outside, gasping for air. My car was still there, door open, engine cold. I drove all the way home and didn't look back once. I told myself it was a nightmare, just a nightmare. But that night, at exactly midnight, I heard it again. Tick, 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 the grandfather clock. But it wasn't in the house, it was in my room. The house isn't silent anymore. It followed me home.